Hi, my name's Isaac, and this is a brand new 2022 Toyota Tundra Limited. And today, I'm gonna review it for you guys.
Before we begin, I'd like to thank Bennett Toyota in Allentown, Pennsylvania for letting me borrow this vehicle to review. For all your Toyota needs, you can visit Bennett at their website, BennettToyotaPA.com.
Starting out up front on the new Tundra, you'll have LED headlights and LED daytime running lights. Those LED daytime running lights double as your turn signals, which have this really cool sequential pattern. I think that's a neat touch. And then moving down here, you'll have a little air intake and your parking sensors. Those go across the front grille. And then you'll have your LED fog lights placed a little bit more center on the grille than they normally are on pickup trucks. You'll have Tundra stamped into the grille on the lower portion, and then curiously, your Toyota Safety Sense badge is integrated right above it. Now, in previous models of Toyota, they actually integrated the Safety Sense into the Toyota badge. My 2019 Tacoma is set up like that, but I imagine they probably wanted the grille to be a little bit more open for airflow, so this just goes right through and the sensor is moved a little bit lower. Speaking of the front grille here, you do have a camera for the 360-degree camera system that this is equipped with. That's just positioned right in there. And I can't do this review without talking about the grille, you know? Like, everybody wants to talk about the grille. When this truck was first unveiled, I made a video fixing this in Photoshop because I did not like the design of this. A lot of people didn't like it. And then a lot of people absolutely loved it. It seemed like there was no middle ground. You either loved this truck or hated it. Personally, I started out with hating it, and I've sort of grown to like it a little bit more. I think that they should have made this portion of the lower bumper body colored. I think that would kind of break up the gigantic grille design right here. And they ended up doing that on the Sequoia that they've recently unveiled. I imagine that's Toyota's way of making the Sequoia distinct from the Tundra in its styling. But you would think that people would probably be able to tell the difference between the two because one's a pickup truck and one's an SUV. But the more that I see these trucks on the road, I'm actually seeing them quite frequently, the more I actually grow to like the design. I'm like, you know what? It's not terrible. And I think that's what happens with a lot of these boundary breaking designs for vehicles. When they're first unveiled, people are like, whoa, 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 that's too much. There's just too much going on there. But the more that we see them in person, eventually we grow accustomed to that. And I think that's gonna happen with this new Tundra across the board. The more that we see them, the more we go, yeah, you know what? It's a pretty nice looking truck. Moving underneath the hood in the Tundra, it's powered by Toyota's new iForce 3.5-liter twin-turbo V6, making 389 horsepower and a massive 479 pound-feet of torque, and that is paired to a 10-speed automatic transmission. Coming a little bit later this year is going to be Toyota's new iForce Max engine, which is still a V6, unfortunately not a V8 option, but it does up those horsepower and torque numbers quite significantly. Moving to the profile of the new Tundra, starting here with the wheels and tires, you're gonna have 265 60R tires around these really nice TRD off-road 20-inch wheels. Then you'll have matte black fender flares right here, and then you will have a body colored mirror cap, always nice to see. And if we hit unlock, they are power folding as well with turn signal indicators in them and blind spot monitoring, as well as power. Obviously they're power mirrors. It would be weird if they were power folding but you had to manually move them. Anyway, moving down here, you will have chrome door handles and a chrome limited badge and a chrome Tundra badge. Now personally, I think if they were gonna do the kind of matte black off-road design, that they should have matted out or blacked out all the badges and the door handles, but I know certain people do like the mix of chrome incorporated into it, so this particular one does have that. And then if we move down here to the rear, you'll have your TRD off-road badge right here. And then we move to the rear. Again, you get that mix of chrome incorporated into there. You'll have Tundra stamped into the tailgate. That is very common nowadays. And you'll have your 4x4 badge here. Your reverse lights down here, that's a pretty clever implementation. It kind of mimics the front, how the fog lights are pushed in a little bit as well. I really like that attention to detail. And then you'll also have parking sensors down here and your tow hitch. Now, opening the tailgate. There's a couple of ways to do it. Just like you normally would, there's a button right there, and you can drop the tailgate. It is a button, it is not a latch. So we can put the tailgate back up. Again, becoming a little bit more common, you could drop the tailgate from the key fob. That's pretty cool. But not to be outdone in the gimmick department, Toyota went one step further and invented a new way to open the tailgate on your truck. Let's say that I have a bunch of stuff in my hands. Just fictionally, I have all this stuff and it's really heavy and I can't get to my keys and I can't get to the latch. And so what I can do is that there is a button right here on the side and I can bump that with my arm and that's gonna drop the tailgate. Very inventive. Think of it like the kind of the foot swipe on the SUV, but for a pickup truck. I really like that and I think Toyota did an excellent job. My one complaint on this is that it's only on that side. It's not over here. You don't get it as an option right there, which is pretty disappointing. And so if we move into the bed really quick, first I do want to say there is a light integrated onto the tailgate right there and a backup camera, of course. But moving into the bed here, this is a composite bed. So it's not a bed liner, despite this having a spray-on bed liner on top of it, but the composite bed essentially makes it very durable. It's like a fiberglass material. I would argue that this is the most durable bed in the entire pickup truck industry because it's not going to rust. If we move in here, you have a couple of different spots for tie downs. You'll have a household outlet back here, LED lights, and you will have bed rails. Again, this bed rail system is so smart, not something that's always included in the competition. I mean, here's the crazy amazing thing about this truck. This truck is very fairly priced with the rest of the competition. I would say it's even more affordable with all the features that it has compared to an F-150 or a Silverado that would be in the same price range. You just get way more with the Tundra, and they don't skimp on the bed. I have found doing these reviews, and look, they know, this isn't like a trade secret, but I have found doing these reviews that Chevy and Ford almost always make a bed liner an additional option. You know, you have to pay extra if you want the bed liner or extra tie downs and stuff like that, or LED lights. And while there is optional stuff in here like that household outlet, Toyota includes a lot of this from the base model, which is incredible to see. Love that. It's just an attention to detail that is not often seen on the competition. If we get up into the bed here, I do want to touch upon this really quick. There is let me see if you guys can see that. There is 2 cameras incorporated into the third brake light up here. Now, you might be saying, Isaac, what is that? 2 cameras up there? That seems a little crazy. Well, we will talk about those when we move to the interior. Speaking of the interior, that's what we're gonna move into next. I'm really excited to show you guys some of the amazing features in here. Toyota has really outdone themselves and truly brought the Tundra into the 21st century. It definitely stands on its own as competition against these other trucks. Let's just start by turning it on right here. It is push button start, and you do have a little TRD engine start stop right there. And if we look in the gauge cluster, I love this startup. Look at that. That's so neat with the little Tundra and the lines. I think it looks great. And you know what? Let's start in the gauge cluster. Let's mix it up a little bit. I normally have a specific rhythm that I follow, but we're gonna mix it up today. So you'll have traditional gauges right here and a small infotainment screen that can be controlled from the steering wheel, and that gives you your basic trip info and stuff like that. Nothing crazy. There is a larger screen optional, but this one just has the tiny one. Personally, I don't think you really need more than this tiny one. The bigger one's just for aesthetic design, basically. You're gonna get almost everything you need on this small screen regardless. Your lane keeping assist, your digital speedometer, stuff like that. I know for me, I mostly keep it on the digital speedometer and occasionally my music. So if we pull out right here, you can see leather wrapped steering wheel, really comfortable, and just a ton of buttons on here. Most of this is for the Bluetooth, the volume control, the channel changing, and then you'll have your cruise control settings right there and some of your Toyota safety sense stuff like your lane keeping assist. You can turn that off and on, and then it will tell you in the gauge cluster screen if it's active or not, which is nice. And then you also have really nice stitching in your steering wheel right here. Pretty good, big, solid sounding beep out of this truck, which is always nice to see. And then if we move over to the door panel, whoa, it's bright over here. Love to see this. You'll have soft touch leather up here where you'd rest your arm. Everybody rests their arm up here, but for some reason, some trucks still don't put soft touch material up here. I'm really thankful to see that Toyota did. You'll get soft touch material down here, though it is a little less high quality, I guess, but you're not resting your arm like this. So I think most people will be satisfied with that. And then it is soft touch, very plush down here again, if you did choose to rest your arm down here. And then you'll have your window controls. Oh, come on, focus. Your window controls, your power mirror folding right there, and then your different mirror controls for the adjustment of the actual mirror itself. And then you'll also have the buttons down here for your memory settings on your seat with kind of a piano gloss finish right there, and you can see my Goodyear sneakers reflecting in them. And if we move over here, you'll have the rear light for your bed right there, your automatic headlights, your auto engine start stop. This is your brightness for your display screen, your odometer trip, your rear parking sensors, your heated steering wheel, and the button to turn on the AC 120 volt outlet in the bed. Bam! Nailed it. I've been doing this so long, I just know that's what the buttons are because of their little logos. I didn't even have to memorize it. That's pretty cool. Moving up here, I really like the design of these vents. I think it's kind of a cool, bulky look, and it really adds to the interior fit and finish in here very nicely. If we move to the screen here, we're gonna hit English. It doesn't actually flicker like that. That's just because the camera refresh rate is slightly different than the actual screen. So let me just talk about this really quick. So it wants me to link a Toyota mobile app. I don't want to do that because I'm not buying this truck. This is just a review that I'm doing. And so it's very complicated to just get to the regular screen. What I have to do is I have to hit cancel, do not show setup again, yes. Then we get to our regular screen where I can access my music, my Apple CarPlay, Bluetooth, stuff like that. I'm not a huge fan of it wanting you to link the app so much. It's just a little frustrating to me. But the screen is really responsive, very quick, as you can see, very spiffy and all of that stuff. And it does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto integration, and that's also really cool to see. Very big screen, and it works really well, other than that small complaint on wanting to set it up. Now, I will avert your eyes so you don't see, it's so crazy how the camera refresh rate thing looks. Like if I do it down here, it doesn't really do it, but if I go right to the screen, oh, it looks like it's acting all funky. But anyway, if we move down here, you'll have your row of buttons for your climate controls. This does have dual zone climate control on the Limited, and then you'll have a massive physical power button and volume button, which I love to see. Now, obviously there is also controls for the volume on the steering wheel, but I don't always want to go into the screen. I like that I have a big dial. Then you're gonna get heated and cooled seats on this Limited. Really cool. Whoa, I just turned that on. Those cooled seats worked so fast, like instantly. I can feel the cool seats. That's crazy. that might have to be the fastest response time of any cooled seats of any vehicle that I've ever reviewed. But regardless, continuing down here, you have your different controls for your vents and stuff. This is, I believe, your rear window defroster, and this does have heated mirrors. Love seeing that too. And then your other climate controls. If we move down here below, thanks train, really appreciate it. If we move down here, okay. All right, are you done? Oh, no, you're not, okay. No, take all the time you need. Serves me right for filming this right next to an active railway. One of the cool buttons that I like to highlight is the 360-degree view of the truck. It's so neat. It's, you know, enshrouded in darkness. It's like a big spotlight is on the truck, and that really helps you off-roading, backing up, stuff like that, to be able to see everything around you. And it creates this kind of CGI Tundra. And what we can do is you can go to the top view, and then we can also do a view like inside where the truck would be. And this is what's around me, and it kind of paints that with the cameras, which is so neat. And then if we throw it into reverse, speaking of cameras, this has a plethora. So you have a top-down view. The camera in the front grille is also paired with cameras that are incorporated right there into the mirror. And so you'll have this great top-down view. Fantastic if we want to back into a parking spot. So if I back in here, you can see that it's got the lines, and obviously I'm filming and doing reviews, so maybe I'm not great at it, but it does allow us to be able to turn in there and make it super easy for us to be able to park in a much more reasonable way. And there is so many options right here. So if you don't want the backup camera, you can go to the front cameras right here. Now that's awesome. That's a live camera. I'm turning the wheel. If we're off-roading in this thing, this is an incredibly useful camera. And this is too, this is our front camera. This is what we're seeing right there. Incredibly useful for off-roading. You see the train going by there, but it's so neat. And this is one of the cameras that I mentioned before that was up in the third brake light. You have a bed camera, so if stuff's rattling around in the back of the bed, or you just want to, want the safety and security of knowing, hey, I want to make sure that thing I tied down is still strapped down on the highway, you can just switch to this camera if you want without having to throw it into reverse. Just amazing to see the different views and angles that you can get, and you can get your different tilt and telescoping angles and stuff like that, so you're the different degrees you're at. It's just incredible. While we still have the live trail cam, it's so neat, the option that Toyota incorporates on here. There's just a ton. And so speaking of cameras, we'll go up to our second camera. Hello everybody, ready? Boom, you got the camera out the third brake light. So if you have a lot of passengers sitting here in the back, this will allow you to be able to see out the back. It can act as your regular rear view. If you want the regular rear view, you just flip that and it flips. It's like magic. Right here, you do have the button for your power sliding rear window. Since this is a quad cab, like the half door, well, it does have a full door, but it's a shorter space in the back. This has just a sliding window. Still a little confused at why they can't do a full window that folds down like the crew cab does. I think it has something to do with the battery pack in the hybrid engine. That's the other one. Excuse me, I'm filming a YouTube review here. Boy, everybody is trying to interrupt me today, but the review must go on. So anyway, I think that the quad cabs can't drop the rear window because on the hybrid variants, the battery pack is down here, and so it just wouldn't work out. You do also get a sunroof, which is great. Love to see the sunroof, though it's not a pano one. Obviously the interior here wouldn't really fit a panoramic sunroof. It is nice to see the sunroof in here regardless. And then coming back down, we kind of started down and we went back up. We're gonna finish down here. We have a rear locker, which is really cool. And the hazards button. Love to see a giant hazard button. I think it's so funny when they put huge hazard buttons in these trucks. Like, it's like the most manly thing, hazard button. And they include it like that, which is neat. And then down here, you'll have an electronic parking brake and an electronic hold button. And then you'll have a TRD shifter, which is leather wrapped. It's a traditional shifter, so you push this in, switch into reverse, switch into neutral, switch into drive, slap shift over here to that kind of auto manual mode if you want to run it like that. And then, whoops, bumped the camera. And then down here you have your drive mode selector, multi-terrain select, and your crawl control right there. A crawl control is kind of like cruise control for off-roading. Really nice. Toyota has kind of pioneered that, and they've done an excellent job with it. Then down here you'll have your button to switch between 4 high and 4 low and two-wheel drive. And then if I move the keys out of here, you have two cup holders right here, and then you do have a wireless charger in the limited model. And this folds in, this part of the center console, and you can access USB and USB-C, as well as a section for coins. And if we open this all the way up, you'll have quite a lot of room in here for cargo. There's a little divider that pops out. So you really do have quite a bit of options when it comes to storage here. You could probably fit a good sized laptop in this center storage area. So that's really cool to see as well. That pretty much wraps up this interior portion for the front. The only other thing I want to talk about is there is a driver's side grab handle in here. Tundra has not had a driver's side grab handle since the first generation. The second gen forewent that, or foregoed that, I don't know the word, but they didn't have it. And finally, the driver's side grab handle is back by popular demand on this third generation Tundra. Love to see that. I think it's fantastic. It's just great to have a driver's side grab handle. So, with that being said, let's take a quick look at the back, and then we'll take this thing for a spin. Moving to the rear seats in the quad cab, I don't really know if you're going to be having a lot of fun back here. There is not a lot of leg room. I am 5'9", 5'10"-ish, and this is where I would sit, and there is just not a lot of leg room back there. I'd have to be a little squeezed in the front to really comfortably fit adults here in the back. This is a problem with a lot of quad cabs in the market. I think the only one that doesn't really feel this tight is maybe Ram's. I could be wrong though. I haven't done a quad cab in a while, but you still do get some good storage back here. You can pull this latch and that will give you access to a ton of underseat storage. That's on both sides. And then, oh boy, here we go. I'm getting in here. Knees right up against it. And then I do have a decent amount of headroom up here. That's pretty good. But you'll have cup holders back here, some power ports, and a household. Is this a household outlet? Yeah, there is a household outlet down here. That's cool. And you do get a folding center armrest right here. That's nice. That's pretty good, all things considered. And if we jump out here, I think you know what? This is claustrophobic. I'm gonna be honest. With this pillar here, just looking around, oh boy, I will be honest, a little claustrophobic back here on the quad cab. I would probably go with the Crew Max if you are looking to transport anybody other than maybe one or two other people. Let me see if we pull this. Yes, you can fold this down, and you do have a JBL subwoofer back here, and it looks like some behind the seat storage too, which is always really cool to see. So let's take this thing for a spin and see how it drives. Oh my word, stop interrupting my video. It's like literally everyone came out today to be like, let's make as much noise as possible. All right, driving the 2022 Toyota Tundra, I am thrilled to finally be behind the wheel of one of these. This thing is honestly fantastic. It really handles smoothly, but still retains its trucky, muscular feel. It doesn't feel like a car as much as the F-150 does. It still feels bulky, but really maneuverable. We're up to speed right now on the highway, and it doesn't really have a lot of wind noise. I mean, I have the sunroof open, so there's a little wind noise from that. The only complaint I can think of to levy against this truck that I'm driving it so far is that the windshield, very similar to a Camaro, is kind of tight on visibility. My brother's first gen Tundra has this giant windshield and you just have this great visibility, but because you have the touchscreen here and the mirror with all the safety sense technology hanging down, it does feel a little tighter on the windshield than on previous models of the Tundra. All right, we've been sitting at a red light. Let's give this thing the gas. Pedal to the metal, baby. Wow, I said that in the cheesiest possible way. Oh yeah, we're picking up gears. Oh, fantastic. This thing flies. So I think that's gonna wrap up my driving impressions. That is going to conclude my review of this 2022 Toyota Tundra. Boy, this was a wild video. We kept getting interrupted at every corner by funny things that were making noise. If you enjoyed that, I didn't hire anybody to do that. That just happened. But if you enjoyed that, please leave a like and subscribe. That would really help my channel out quite a bit. And lastly, I am a Christian, so if you have any prayer requests, you can leave those in the comment section below. And I like to close on a weekly section of scripture. This particular section is John 14. I'm gonna start in verse 5. To give you guys a little context, Jesus is talking about his ascension into heaven. He says, I'm gonna go prepare a place for you. And the disciples are confused. They're like, well, wait. Starting here in verse 5. Thomas said to him, Lord, we do not know where you are going. How can we know the way? And verse 6, Jesus said to him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. So it's not just something applicable to them. Jesus is saying, he's the way for everybody. No one can come to the Father except through believing in Jesus. Normally, I only do one section of scripture, but I felt compelled for this video to give you guys a more fully centered gospel message, I suppose. But in Romans 10:9, it says, if you confess with your mouth and believe in your heart that God raised Jesus from the dead, you will be saved. So if you're kind of teetering on, yeah, I sort of believe in Jesus, it's no more complicated than that. It's not about works. It's not about anything that you have to do. When Jesus died on that cross and rose again, he took your sin, and you don't have to do anything except believe and pursue him. And so see how big I'm smiling? I love telling people about Jesus, and I love being able to incorporate that into car reviews. Never in a million years did I think I would be able to incorporate being able to witness to people with car reviews, but here we are. God is good. And so with that, guys, I'll see you next time. Take care.